Good morning and welcome to Walk the Web. I'm Dr. Aaron Dishno, and we're gonna jump right in today on some cleanup with some avatars. I know yesterday I started working on some terrain, and I was created some terrain with Blender, and we'll get back to that. I'm still doing a little bit of studying and learning how to get all the textures on it the way I want, especially procedural textures like putting grass on the ground and different things. Also, the scene that I was doing, since I was expanding it 40 times the original size, I think I'm running into a little bit of scaling issues with the grass because you got to make it really tiny to scale to that size and blah, 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 blah. So I've got a little bit more studying to do, a few more videos to watch, and practice handful more things before I go teaching you how to add some textures to that. So I will get back to that within a few days here. But in the meantime, one of the things I needed to clean up was when I created the original avatars, there were a couple things I did. First of all, I grabbed them from Mixamo website from Adobe, and they're free to use, free to do whatever we want with them and stuff. So nice little site for getting avatars and animations. The only thing was when I experimented with it, everything looked okay with grabbing the avatars and setting it to the animations to skip frames or whatever it was called, there's some certain words, let me check. Keyframe reduction, and there's a non-uniform and a uniform. And well, after playing around with this for a while and trying different things, one of the things I noticed is that anytime we do any keyframe reduction, it ends up basically breaking the all of the animations. The parenting object is the hip. And whenever I do keyframe reduction, it appears that some animations will all of a sudden do some weird moves because it's moving the main parent item in ways that it wasn't expecting to. So it ends up with like you're doing a dance and all of a sudden it defies gravity because the legs kick up where in an unnatural position. Well, it turns out that if I do no keyframe reduction and jump it right in there, then basically you get nice, clean results. The other part was when I first downloaded them and ran them in there and everything else, what I didn't notice was that some of the Babylon files still have the images in the file itself, and they're also outside the file as packed images in the Blender file. The problem with doing that is, for example, I take one of my characters and it ends up being 27 meg to download, yet technically we can get it a lot smaller than that, make the download speeds a lot faster, clean up a lot of stuff by doing just a little bit of work and some of the right settings. So I've been playing around with the settings, and well, I'm not perfect at it, so you're probably going to see me bumble around a little bit, but I'm determined to get it working and to scale down the size of the frames. So gonna jump right in and see what I can't do for, get this whole thing in place. So going right into it. Okay, so first thing is, this is the Mixamo website. Really cool stuff. Like I said, they have a ton of avatars, and my goal with doing what I'm doing today, not only shrink the avatars and make them work a little faster and better, but I'm going to set it up where we can actually take different characters and actually load them to the scene and add our own custom characters to Walk the Web. So that's the goal. That's some of the directions I'm heading in. Doesn't mean I'm going to finish all that today. There's a lot of work to make that happen, but I want to set it up in a way that I'm leaning that direction for when I create the custom animation plugin in the future. Then you're going to be able to set up whatever you need to for your animations. Okay, so with that said, first thing I'm going to do is we have this one guy, Jasper, and I've selected him here. And then the other part of that is once we have the person, I include the ID, if I can spell while I'm talking, idle. I include the idle move with the original character. So even by default, it loads not just as the T character, but with the first animation, which is its standing position loaded. In this case, just so you can see what I took, since it's Jasper, I took the happy idle, applied it to him. There's some settings if you want to slow him down or speed him up, whatever. I don't see any reason to make him, more hyper or less hyper. Looks jittery if you go too fast, and looks lazy, or looks like the animation is suffering if you go too slow. So I'm going to set it right down the middle where it started. And now when I download this particular item, first of all, with skin on the idle only. All the rest of the animations I'm going to do are not going to use the skin, because we're actually going to apply the animation to whatever idle position avatar that we already have loaded in the scene. So I only load the mesh of the avatar when I'm doing the idle. Once that's loaded, all the rest of them are just that. They're without the skin and load right onto the character. So keyframe reduction none, frames per second 24 is fine. And click download. And you can create a free account on this site, so you can get anything you want from here. One of the things I'm going to be using in the near future is we have a lot of cool characters that battle. We have some characters that have guns and gun positions. I'm going to be working on a side project with a handful of people from the site, and if you want to join us, you're welcome to join us. But we're going to be creating a paintball game, and we're going to create a paintball plugin so that you can turn any scene into a paintball game just by putting this load zone around it. It'll load the functionality of a paintball game, and you're going to be able to do whatever you need with it. So kind of cool stuff. We'll go through the steps of doing that one at a time. In this case, the first thing I have is I have my current avatars, and I'm going to use the Jasper file since this is Jasper, and I'm going to call this Jasper Idle just because. Okay, Jasper Idle, FBX file, and that gives me the animation into my system. Now, next step is we bring up Blender. Brand new, nothing here. We've got one little box in the center of the screen. I'm going to delete that. My cursor's in the center, everything looks good. First thing I'm going to do is File, Import, and we're going to grab that FBX file that I just set up. Let's see, avatar is current, avatar is Jasper, that's where I'm working. And I'm going to grab this file and I'm going to import that. I believe I clicked it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have Jasper, we have the initial animation and everything. And before I get any farther here, what I like to do is I like to save the file so that when I do settings with images and everything else, it knows exactly which folder I'm going to work in. We have our Jasper folder here, and I'm going to call this one Jasper Idle. Helps if I spell it right. Jasper Idle. Okay, and save the Blender file. Now, this is what I want to show you, is just by saving that Blender file, it's 18 meg on its own. But the file that I had here was 16 meg for Babylon export, and I had all these images that were running from external. So by the time you added all those files together, it was actually downloading a total of 27 megabyte every time it loaded Jasper. Way too big, not exactly what we wanted. I could have left it alone without exporting the images and doing anything with them, and still got it down to 18 just by doing that step alone. Actually, that's not the right size, because if I export it as Babylon right now, let's compare that. First thing is, can't export to Babylon until you do a couple things. The first one is, notice the scale. You can't leave the scale at 1/100th of the scale. They all need to be 1 by 1 by 1, and so that the transformations are applied. So now our avatar is that big. And let me rotate around here a little bit. So this is our avatar, and if I push Z, one of these days I should automatically I should have it where it tells you what I'm doing. I'll have to put those back in place. Had it before where it showed you the hotkeys. It would tell you all the buttons I'm pushing. Right now it's not quite doing that. There we go. There's our rendered Jasper. File save. And file export. And I'm just going to dump it in the same directory and overwrite the current files. Jasper Babylon. Okay, export. I have this all saved in another folder. Plus, we also have it on the GitHub site, so I'm not worried about it. Overwriting my current files. The only thing I've really done is I've added all the animation keys, and so far I haven't unpacked any of the images. We can leave them packed, or we can pull them out. The thing is, the file size for leaving them out is actually bigger than if we export them and shrink the files, because they transfer, then they load into the Babylon character. So it would expand the images on the other side if we take the JPGs and actually shrink them. So scale them down a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll play around with some of these settings and see if we can't make him load faster than he normally would. All I've done so far is make him larger so that the I didn't finish transforming him. That's going to be a little bit of an issue. I want to check the file size. It's just a setting. Okay. Bump, 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 bump. Taking a little while. Let's see how it's doing. And the Babylon file, oh, it's 1K. Hey, I wish it was. No, actually, it's this one. 16, and here it goes. The new Babylon file. Move that over a little bit so we can see which one's the manifest. Okay, it's still 0. Still doing it. And there it goes. 16.3. Okay, so that's still relatively the same size that it was before, which means it is all the packed images and everything else built into that file. So, and notice this. He tweaked out. I can tell you already, I know what that is. I'm going to hit Control Z so that it backs up that step. And object. Well, here's the deal. First thing is you grab the armature and you make sure you're on all that stuff, and object, apply, all transformations. Now he's applied, and notice if I try to move his thing, his animations, we're good, he's moving. It's a little slower on here than it normally would be running when it's on the site. That's just has to do with has to do with the pace it can handle on here right now while I'm doing everything else. Think of it this way. I'm streaming. I'm actually, let me close a couple things. We don't need that right at the moment. And I'll free up a little memory and make them run a little faster. I'll leave that open for now. I had some of everything open, so... Okay, the other part is, if I come back in here, this right here, I need to move the end key to, what is that, 71? Might as well make it where it's, is it 71? Yeah, it's right at 71. Now if it does this, basically his changeover will happen right there, and he goes back over and repeats the same thing. Okay. So now he's a fully animated with all the things, no drop downs. Okay, let me. Okay. Yeah, okay, hang on. Okay, you know what? I'll get back to that. Sorry. Okay, and let's see what we got here. Yeah, looks like I gotta catch. I gotta get those permissions straight. I'll get that straight later on. I don't want to distract from what we're doing here right now. Okay, so I've got him out here and everything else, and one of the things about it is we have these various textures, and technically, okay, it's not even. I didn't highlight them. That's why. We have. It didn't load them. Oh, I'm on the armature. Okay, so for each one of these items, here we go. Body material. It has all these different textures. And what I first need to do is in here we have external data. Automatically packed and blend is unchecked, and unpack all into files. That's what I want. Use files in current directory. Create when necessary. And save pack files. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And it automatically, this is the one thing it does that I'm, okay. It puts it in textures underneath it. Good or bad. There's all the files that it's using. And one of the things about it is when it unpacks them, I thought it would make the file smaller for Babylon, but we're going to play around with that. And if we have to, I'll even manually edit the Babylon file and delete the graphic images out of it, because it doesn't need them packed into the Babylon file if they're all external links in the first place. So, okay, so with that said, let me double check now. If I'm not mistaken, we should have, nope, we don't have them there yet. Okay. Each one of these are associated to that, and each one should have, here it is. Okay, so base color, it's telling us which piece it's doing. Okay, if I go to shading, each one of the items should be telling me which file it's using, and obviously it's extremely large in the scene. And let's see here. I know. Got to make it larger just so I can see where I'm at. Okay. Body opacity. That's the opacity settings. That's the Jasper settings. Okay. Image block data referenced an external or packed image. And this one currently, for example, is referencing the packed image. So for each one of these things, I'm going to have to tell it open image, for example, and, well, I need to see which one I'm doing. So it's body, Jasper body gloss, and if I select this and I go to the folder that I'm currently in, I don't want to create a second folder in it, so I'm kind of just backtracking a little bit here. Instead of a separate texture, Jasper body gloss, PNG, Jasper body gloss, PNG is right here. And obviously, but it's the same picture, so it shouldn't be changing anything, but the difference is now this is referencing the PNG file instead of the internal. So like here we have specular. I'm not changing the file name, so basically I'm just moving it down a directory, telling it do this, open image, and by doing this, I'm first of all getting rid of the texture folder so it's working in its own root. We don't have to do it that way, but I need to add support into my app that allows it to have that, let you create subdirectories in the textures when you upload them. just kind of a slippery slope. Or whenever you create one, I can automatically add a texture folder for you. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play around with those settings and decide what I want to do. But we've taken those three, and if I'm not mistaken, there's another one here. There's always more to this stuff. But by changing that like that, going down to this folder and open image, what I'm doing in the long run, okay, see there's one down there too. There we go. Forgot if you hold the middle button, you can scroll this little section down here. And there's the other one. All the various parts, and this one, see Jasper body normal, it's right here. So we do have all the images, and it just lost something there. That's interesting. Well, what I'm going to do is we have our textures. These are the ones it's expecting, so I'm going to take a copy of that and drop them back into this folder, just so we make sure that we're getting the exact same files, or if there's any missing files, they get added. Okay, so now we have added a couple more files, and this should now, okay, so it went back to our original look and feel, because now it does find that image where it's supposed to be in that folder. Open image, and it's good to go. Okay, and scroll this up this way. Okay, looks like I've gotten all the images in the nodes here. That's the body part, and of course now if I switch to a different part such as bottoms, now I have all the ones related to this one. Like I said, it's worth it in the end. There's a method to my madness here. I'm going to work on each of the PNG files and pack them smaller so that the download size is actually smaller than what we're seeing here. And I'm going to try to get it to save the Babylon file without them in it. That way, overall, it ends up with a smaller packed image instead of, see if we can get the file size down even farther. Okay, there's that one, and jump through these real quick. And this one. And since all the images are there, it's easy enough to do what I'm doing. Grab that. Probably faster just put a texture directory on the other site, huh? Well, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. When people upload their images, it's all going to end up in the same folder on the server anyway, so I'm kind of imitating the direction we're heading on that. That way we don't have to create a full file explorer that lets you go into subdirectories and updirectories and everything else, which opens up more security issues and different things when you start letting them create directory names and all this other stuff. But if they flatten the file or flatten the object by making it all in one folder, then different story. Okay, so we have now eyelashes. We'll start with this. Oh, that's already there because it's part of the body. And going through each one of these. Did I get all the other ones on the bottoms? Make sure I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. So eyelashes and oops, I think I'm zooming in as I go. Okay, textures on this. Open image, and let me back that out just a little bit, and just systematically making sure I've gotten each one of these on their correct file. I can tell by if it's in the texture or if it's in the, which directory it's going from. And notice it also says PNG on the file names, so we know we're grabbing the right, that they've changed over to a PNG file opposed to working in the other. Okay, so, and when I highlight them, it doesn't tell me the directory it's in. Okay, no problem. And now we have eyes. Go through the same thing. This one is probably part of the body, so it's already been adjusted on each one of these. Just double check. Okay. This This one, okay. And that one, okay. And we're good on those, okay. And then hair, same thing. This one, oh, see, we're in texture still. Some of them are part of other images, and some of them are, like the eyes, were part of another image because they're so tiny otherwise there's no reason to have a separate file. So that's why certain things had their own image and other things don't. Okay, we go to that directory, open image, and that was, I already do that one. Nope, just perspective. Take this one. I know, kind of redundant to what I'm working on right now, but it's getting there. Good news is I don't have to sit here and type the path or the file names, because we do have the same file names, just in a different folder. Okay, open image. And moving down my list, we have the shoes. Open image, and I know this part's redundant, but it's needed. Okay, open image, and here. Open image. Okay, that takes care of that one, and we're down to tops. Down to tops, I should say, up to tops. The other thing is, if I really wanted to, because we allow you to color everything, what I could do is change these images to basically grayscale. That way, like if you, because this is blue right now, and if you wanted to make that a yellow shirt, it's not going to go that way with mixing blue with yellow. So I could change those to transparencies, or not transparents. I could change those to a grayscale version. That way, when you do color something, you would get the full color. It's a possibility. Be kind of cool to do it that way. Just, you know, another possibility of what to do and how. Trying to make the experience the best for everybody. Of course. That would also shrink the file size a little bit if we go to grayscale, because then, of course, on certain items, by going grayscale, we do end up keeping a lot of the pieces in place for the shading, but yet it doesn't affect the colors, and the colors will be able to come through truer from the colors we select. So, it's an option. We'll have to experiment with that and see what it looks like, because if that works out well, then it'd be worth doing. Then our initial loads, we would probably want to set some colors instead of just letting them come up grayscale. So kind of like undo so you can do, but yeah, we'll see. Did I get that one right? Okay. Yeah, I did it. Okay. Cancel. Okay, so we've gotten all the different parts of the character, and we've cleaned up the animation part of it by, I don't need modeling, we need layout. Okay, so we've given it the different pieces. I'm not too worried about the lighting, because the lighting is technically part of, it's what happens with the other parts when they come through. So I don't have to worry about the lighting. It's not baking it on the images. It's actually just using our images that we did. So that should be pretty good. Now, if I do this and file, I want to try exporting. Oh, that was the other thing. Since I did the armature and I did object, apply all transforms, that now has it set to 000, 000, and 111 for scale. The thing is, it usually tweaks these. See how they're 90 degrees off and a -0? Those don't do well, so we still have to apply all transformations to each one of these objects after we've done the applying to the armature itself. Because the armature offsets things, and whatever reason it does that, we just go through each one of these, apply the transformations. Okay. And tops, object, apply, all transforms. Okay, so now they've been applied from every angle. And if I save that, we've also set our animation to 71 frames, file, and export as Babylon file. Let's see what happens. And it's in the same folder that we're currently working, so see what happens with that. We're going to experiment with a couple things. We're going to check out this one, and then the other possibility is before I had done the keyform, whenever I downloaded, I was doing the keyframe reduction non-uniform, and it's still possible keyframe reduction uniform might work, but I just want to make sure the animations look their best. So we'll test this out. If they run slow or any problem like that, then we're going to tweak it and see if we can't make them run faster. I just want to make sure we're getting the best quality and best speed. I don't want it to slow down too much because I went with some animation that was just overpowering the system. So too many keyframes, too much for the computer to do. Okay. And as it's doing this, notice it's quite a few more files. I think now we have all the actual files for the Jasper. I don't think he had every one of these things set before. So now we actually have all of the files, all the textures that were there. Notice how some of these textures, they're like 1 meg, 1 meg. Okay, so some of them are larger than others. We'll see if we can shrink them, and if we have them exported like this, excluded in the actual Blender file, then what happens is we get the choice to make, I think we can make them these smaller and download them faster, but I think it's all going to matter. Okay, so is it done? Yes, it's done. Oh, it tweaked it again. See, he's not even in the shoes. Something's going on. Here's the deal. I've run into this before, and it has to do with, see, watch, if I run the animation right now. Okay, he's still all connected and everything. Don't know why it does that where it looks tweaked in this scene. I think it has to do with the transformations. Another reason why we do all the transformations and get it in place the way we do. Okay, now, but what I want to try is I'm going to upload this version of Jasper onto the server and replace my current version and see if everything works as expected or faster or better or anything. So I'm going to try that first. I'm not too concerned about it being faster, slower in the download yet because I haven't tweaked everything I plan to on that end of things. But what we'll do is I'm going to edit my avatar. Come on. Let me guess. I moved the button. Fix. Okay, that was popping up when I didn't want it to, and so I moved where the button was so that it wouldn't happen when I did a certain other step. And I know as soon as I did that now, this this setting to edit the avatar isn't bringing up the menu, so time to fix that real quick. It's like fix one thing, break another. Break one thing, fix another. It's like being on a teeter-totter. I can tell you already where that setting is. Okay, so in here, and the name of it is believe I've already fixed those files and uploaded them to the server, so there's nothing left to do on that piece. Close them out for now. In the menus, it's the regular menu. And it's menu avatar, I think is what it's called. So menu movement speed, menu shadow, menu avatar. This guy right here, I'm going to do a search across my code because there's a quick way to find it and use it. And there's a function called show settings menu, menu avatar. That's what we need. And just to find the location, it is, oops, not there. Let me get back out of that. When I open this, when I click that link, this is the one that should automatically show me set camera on avatar. That was part of it, but that's not the full picture. So, okay, this is, oh, that's why. When I set the camera on the avatar, that happens for more than just this scene. Okay, now I understand why I took it out of the other part. And we can fix that very easily in our functions of menus. In here, we do this setup. Oh, wait, where is it? Those are the functions. Wait a minute. Section. Now this is the large file. I know I should search for it instead of doing all this. Edit my avatar. We'll just call it. And it's not case sensitive, so let's find it real quick. And edit my avatar is part of the menu file. Okay, so it was there. There's two places that it's showing as a menu item. Menu login. Oh, okay. There are two places. And this one. See, it has this set settings on avatar. We're going to have it show settings menu and set camera on avatar. That'll give us both of the best of the world. And I'm not going to go too far from this because I have a feeling we're going to be doing this in more than one place anyway. Here's set camera on avatar and do that. What I could do is set camera on avatar. I could make that where you go to self camera mode. That way it's actually pointing at you, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure out which one works the best and go ahead and do it. Okay, so save those files, and now the good news is I should at least see the menu option when I click that. Okay, and there's my avatar. Go here and edit my avatar, and the menu showed up, which is what I wanted it to do. And change my avatar. That's when it should. Here they come. See, it didn't switch. Oh, it's 90 degrees off. Okay, had a feeling that might be the issue. Well, that's another thing I need to fix. So let's fix that real quick. When I click that thing that says change my avatar, one of the things it does in this function is, where's the class, is switch avatar menu for, okay, and finding files. what it is it's actually putting something as a parent there, and then all the avatars line up on it. And when I told them to do it, I told them to do it in front of you, which, notice, it is in front of us, so it's technically... Actually, it's not. It is to the left of me. We're off. We're off in a couple directions here. We're off by the 90 degrees that I corrected the avatar the other last couple weeks ago, and that's just pieces that I've been working on getting in place. Okay, switch. I didn't get that name right. Okay, let's see. Edit my avatar. Okay, so once I've opened this avatar menu, let me just look down here real quick. It is avatar menu, and we're clicking on animations and this one right here. Switch avatar menu. Okay, maybe I typed something wrong. And now we're finding it. There we go. Oh, I said menu avatar. I said them backwards. Okay, so the switch avatar menu, and it goes to menu 4, which is this section here, open change avatar. This one is the name of the function that I'm looking for. And in this section, one of the key pieces are that the setup mode, it looks for setup parent, and if it doesn't exist, it creates this box, and it is on, and the position is here, rotation is 0, watch this, 90 degrees. Let's see. I probably should make it also at some point where when you say edit my avatar, it goes to the self camera, because immediately by doing that, then you're looking at your own avatar to make changes to them and stuff, and it's a proper camera zoom and everything else. So I probably will do that, but because I'm still working on the cameras, I don't want to tweak into that section just yet. So that will be fixed. Okay, so change my avatar, and now we should get them loaded. Yeah, here we go. I'm also going to change it so it doesn't do the smoke. Let's see the one that it's doing to create them. Looks like we're off-centered. That's kind of funny. Oh, I know why. Because in here I went to a -20 on Z position, which now it is, since I rotated it 90 degrees, that would be the X position, -20. That's why I was opening this up, by the way. And that's why it's offset 20 this way, and it's where it is. So now, of course, if I do this way, and back to the same thing, and edit my profile, edit my avatar, change my avatar. And as soon as I'm done today, I'll publish out these changes that I just made that fixed this little piece. But for now, you got select avatar. It puts that stuff on the page. And it's looking pretty close to me, but they're all on the page. They're within reach, which is a good sign. And one of the other parts is Jasper here up in front. And when he loads up, okay, I got a lot of things running at once. Okay, so he's got his little animation running there, and right now he's got a little arm swinging thing going on. I went with the happy one instead. Might be a little extreme, but hey, let's see what happens if I switch them out. And I may not have the right... Okay, since I switched that animation, what I may also have to do... well, first things first. Inner object definitions. One of the things I do is, depending on which avatar you pick, depending which one it is, notice each one, there's a male, there's a, those are those, these are the animations by default, depending which one you pick. See, we have avatars, Malcolm, Liam, Stephanie, Pearl, Regina, Shay. So if I go up here to Jasper, the start frame and end frame, it was 201 for the animation before, but now that we've done this new animation, it's a different one that was than the one that was running before. So now I can take that amount and make it the current one, which is now 71, and that should be the definition that it loads. This kind of stuff is going to be something you can enter in the database and make your avatar definition for each animation that you put up there, the same way we do with the other animations. But you're going to be able to select your initial load, of what this is, so that it has your avatar loaded, but then you can also tell it the other animations that you're going to load. And you can, if you use the same skeleton that we do for these items, because these all have the same skeleton, if you stick with that skeleton layout, then you can use any animation that we already have. If you create your own skeleton layout, those animations just aren't going to work, and you'll have to upload each animation for each one of the items that you want to attach it to. Okay, with that said, here we go. We're getting there. We're getting there. So that takes that piece, and now what I want to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to transfer the files for this new Jasper that we just messed with, and I'm going to put them on the server so that it gives us our new version of Jasper, and we can see what that does. It may be good, may be bad. There may be some weird things happening about him, but either way, in fact, instead of doing it on this selection scene, the other piece I can do is if I choose Jasper now, then that is going to be the one that we have loaded. Okay, and then the other part, oh, I've got to fix that. There's another piece that didn't load right for this right here when I made a change. I'll find that and fix that piece and find out what's going on there. But currently, this is the way he looks, and I'm going to do a selfie camera so you can kind of see him. He can walk around. He's kind of short, so the camera is like, makes him feel a little close. I'll be playing around with these cameras, so don't worry about it too much, but at the same time, what's going to happen is a lot of these camera views are going to be, let's see, these all work just fine. Okay, I'm just curious. But I'll be adjusting the distance so that it's actually closer on certain things or whatever. We'll be playing around with that, or even give you a zoom in and out where you can say what zoom level you want it to be, maybe. I don't know. That'll be some future things where we can adjust the camera, positioning to the person. Maybe a slider would be cool. So then you can set it where you like it, how close you like it to be, or how far out you like it to be from the actual avatar. That would be a cool setting, I believe. Okay, but right now we can see him. He's got his little arm swinging thing going on. And now I'm going to go ahead and on my server, I'm going to upload these new files to the server. We haven't done anything about the size of the files yet, but that's fine. It's all worth experimenting with anyway. First thing I want to see is that he loads up and works the same way that he did before. To do that, the other thing is we're going to open settings. And see, it doesn't automatically reload every single time unless we actually clear our browsing data. I'm only getting rid of cached images so that he'll reload. And now when I refresh, I've got my files over on the server. Okay, and when I refresh this, let's see how he does with the new. I just want to see the animation working with all the keyframes in place and everything. Oh, it still thinks I'm selecting. Why did it do that? It didn't save my setting. Okay, fine. Change my avatar. And does it not know where to parent on now? Okay, is it happening all next to me? See, it's now completely out of phase with me. Okay, hang on. I'm just refreshing the page. It didn't save my settings, so it doesn't know what avatar I'm using, and that's something that I still got to go through. Some of my latest changes with the handlers. This is just some of the testing I got to go through and then select which ones I'm going to do. So, yes, it'll be a little bit off until then. See, he's coming through. He's got some more shading. Notice how dark he is. So the lighting in the scene did not pick up all the extra shading that I expect, or the lighting that I expected on him. So I might have to do something with the lighting of the scene or something. Maybe it does bake in some of the images. That's all fine. We can manage that. Okay, but right now I'm going to pick him. And notice he did have his animation working. It's taken a long time to load him, of course. There he is. He's got his animation, so that part's all good. And it puts me back to this camera. It does work with my other animations, so I can move forward, backwards, and everything else from there. So I need to do some work on some lighting so that he definitely picks up the characteristics of the lighting. I also need to, well, the good news is he fully has his animation, so he's walking and moving and everything looks good. It's smooth. I'm not seeing any glitches in when he's walking or moving. It's transitioning fine from one to the next. I don't have any animation selected. Oh, they didn't load. Okay, that's fine. I'll fix that. But yeah, so it does have all the characteristics the way they should be. Everything's working fine from that side of things. So, okay, so we do have the ability to pull him in that direction. And of course, right now, even if I refresh this page, it's not going to come back to where I am because it didn't save my settings when I did that. So it's actually going to try to reload him every single time. I'll be working on that shortly. Can only fix one thing at a time, right? And if I go down a tangent and I start working on other things, the next thing you know, we didn't complete what I was expecting to do in the first place. Now, here's the deal. This file, if I bring this up, I'm going to edit with Notepad. And technically, we have all the information in here. I'll close it off. I don't even know it. Okay. And basically going to I don't need any of this stuff open right now. Okay, so going through all this piece, the one thing is it's all pointing at the PNG Jasper file. So, I mean, they're all going to the right place for every one of those images. But I want to double check and see, does it look like any image data is in here? No, it isn't. Okay, so that is not any image data. Okay, so then the file would be larger when the image data is packed into it. Okay, that's what I was checking. Okay, and just checking other things. Now, that's 16 meg in itself, and when I load this with all these other files, it's a total of 27.9, which is pretty much, it was 27 something before, so we're still at 27 meg of all the files that it needs to load. So what I can do is I can actually take each one of these, and if I open with, yeah, I have Corel. So go in here and just do File, Save As. One of the options it gives me is it's still a PNG, it's still in its original location. I can go to Options, Run Optimizer, and let me bring that over here. What it lets me do is, like this example, uncompressed. This is a 3 meg file, compressed, and you can tell it how much dithering to do and how many colors to retain, and you can tell it how to compress it, and basically it will shrink the file size, like here, 252. Now notice this original file was 1.143. So over a meg, it's a fourth the size. Oops, Let me get back to that directory here. Oh, I didn't mean to go into here. Okay, I meant to click that one. And when I say OK, it now has that new size. I click Save. Yes. And now that one goes down to that size. So for each one of these items, if I take them into here and just optimize it, what's going to happen is they still go back to their original size to import, but the difference is that now we'll get them, they'll transfer at a smaller size, and then they'll expand on the server when they get imported to the actual person. So we're actually not messing with anything to do with the uncompressed size. It's still going to get to that size, and it's still going to do something on the server. Now this is 696, and if oops, okay, I need to close that off there so I don't keep hitting it for now. 696, but when I go back to this, we can get it to 489. Or the other thing we can do is this dithering. We can manipulate it a little bit. Sometimes by changing the percentage here, we'll change things there. But I don't want to tweak the actual image, so I don't want to do anything with that. This one looks like a grayscale image, so if I went to grayscale 16-bit, I guarantee that would, yeah, I would have thought it would do something, but it didn't. It might not do it till you actually save it, but regardless, notice that these are, I didn't lose any quality in the image, and we're shrinking things down a little bit. So, okay, Jasper Glossy already exists. You want to replace it? Yes. Okay, that's 2 of them. And just moving right on down. Okay. This one here, File, Save As. And the Save As just gives me the options to run the optimizer. That's the only reason I click Save As. And notice this one goes to 204. Okay. And save that in its original location. Close that out. Next image. This one's 18K. I'm not even going to bother. If I can make 18K any smaller, that really isn't going to matter on the big scheme of things. So this one was 571. File, Save As. The ones that have more colors tend to be the ones that size better. 397, so still was able to do something with it. Yes. Close that out. This one's 1.2 megs, so obviously this one will make a bigger difference. Obviously, the larger size files are the ones that make the biggest difference. And by the way, it is preserving the transparency, so I shouldn't have any issues with the transparency after I do this. 500 and okay, it goes down less than half of its original size. Okay, save, yes. And next one, the gloss, 795. File, Save As. Options, Run Optimizer. And that one drops down to 494. Okay. Save. Yes, replace it. Okay, 1.8 megs. So this was one of the larger ones. I could have sorted these by larger size files and then did only the ones that really need it, but it's always good to, hit them all for the most part. 489 instead of 1.8, so that one took off a couple meg. Okay, I'm not worried about a 9K file. 284, okay, we'll do that one. Save As, and options, Run Optimizer. Okay, and 158. So cut that one down in half. Save, yes. Okay, 616. File, save as. Options, run optimizer. And here we go. Okay. Save. Yes. So that one went down to 511. A little bit smaller than it was. Some of these go farther than others, obviously. File, save as. Options, run optimizer. 133. Okay. Save. Yes. So that shrunk down. Normal hair. Get the ones you can. Love the one you're with. No. Okay. Okay. Save. Yes. Okay. Close out some of these. Don't need them all open still. Okay. Opacity 488. And this is without tweaking the image anymore. I mean, I could shrink the file sizes. I could resize and rescale and do all kinds of things that do it. I'm just doing the bare minimum just to keep the images the same quality that they were before, but just shrink them down so that when we download them, they're, we're getting the best benefit with the smallest file sizes. File, save as. Options, run optimizer. Okay. Yes, replace it. And that one's down to 96. So far, I haven't noticed any of them going up in size. That would be defeating the purpose, right? File, save as. Options, run optimizer, and see, this one goes to 117. It was 156. So yeah, it did get a little bit smaller. Okay. Just curious. Save. Yes. Every little bit helps. They'll download just a little quicker. And okay, open with that. I could drag it across. I don't know why I keep doing it that way. Habits. Save as. Options. Run optimizer. 48. Yes. And I guess, like I said, I could just take it like this and just drag it here. It would open it there too. Option run optimizer. And this one goes down to 73K. Nice. That one's only 3K to begin with. I'm not going to worry about it. This is 48K. Let's see if we can shrink this one. File, save as. $25, okay. So 43 to 25. Some of these get, pretty good considering their size. That's, a good 60% smaller. So, and this one's 1.1 megs, so I'm sure there's room to grow. Now this is the stuff that I could mess with, taking the blue out of it, making it a grayscale so that, like, if you wanted to make it a yellow shirt, you'd have more control in the scene. So some of this stuff I may tweak later on. I want to see this stuff work first, and then we'll go into that kind of stuff. Because it would be kind of cool if you gave everybody if I give everybody the most ability to change the colors. When you try to change a blue, you can go to purple, you can go to maybe a dark red or a dark green, but you're obviously, if you wanted to make it a gray shirt or a white shirt, you're never going to get there because it's blending the color with the current color that's already in it. So in this case, it went to 369 from 1.1 megs, so much better. And file, save as, options, run optimizer. And here we go again. Okay. I know this is kind of tedious, but necessary. And this piece. File, save as. Options, run optimizer, and we get down to 254. Yes. And we're almost there, only 2 more to go. This one's only 11K. Oh, I'm just curious. Does it shrink? File, save as. 11K goes down to 8K. So even that can make a difference. And finally, the last one, 32K. We're going to make that. Save as. Options. Okay, 20K. Save yes. And now what I want to really check is, now that I have that loaded, if I go from the Babylon manifest, which are all the files you have to load when you load the object, notice it's 21 meg. So I just went from 27.9 to 21.4. So I just saved 6.5 meg just by resizing those files and doing nothing else but that. So a lot cleaner in the download. A lot of information, a lot better. So that definitely was a bonus for doing that particular item. And now I've got it on my other screen here, but I'm going to upload these files. And change all that. And while that's uploading, go to settings, clear browsing data, clear data. And now when I go back to this scene, I can do this. I got to reselect him again. I've got to fix that whole setup. There's something wrong in the handler file. I already know it. And so I'm missing some field or something spelled wrong or whatever. But that's part of the handlers that I just updated in this next update set. So we're going to get there. We'll get there. But in the meantime, it's going to load my Jasper here. I don't think I like the smoke anymore. I did it for a little bit, and I'm going to pick a different scheme to automatically do those. I may even just make them grow in or something. I don't know. Giving animation gives you something to watch while you're waiting for it to do it. But in this particular case, and there's Jasper. Close this out. And there he is. And he walks, talks, whatever. So we still have him. It didn't distort any of the animations. I was just checking because some of those were transparencies, and I wanted to make sure that they worked right. Notice if I do this, okay, and I'm just curious if I go into here. See, I don't have my shadows on in this scene. I think I turn them on when you actually load a scene. So, okay, but that's he's a little dark, and that has to do with the lighting. So I'm going to adjust the lighting on the scene and stuff, and that will take care of the darkness of him. But other than that, he's actually in pretty good shape here. If I need to, what I can do is on each one of these items, when I go into the shading, now notice this. I just want to point this out. When I'm looking in this scene, look how bright he looks. See how bright he looks? How do you go into shading and then decide, I'm going to make him lighter, when this is what you're seeing when you normally bring him up and can see him? Now, one thing I can tell you is that this right here is my light, and because I made him so much taller, basically it wasn't even close to the right position, or even, I would guess, even the intensity that it needs to have. Okay, so we have that. I put the light up here. Let's check in our light. Since we put that on the scene, let's see, where is it? I know it's here. I think it's this object. No. Oh, I'm not selected up here. Sorry, let's get the light. The light. There we go. And the light should be... There it is. Strength. I can brighten it. See, now we get some more light on him. And so we can decide how much light we need and coming from what angle. I'll probably have to backlight a little bit or something like that, but that's not too critical. And notice I didn't have to republish this out. All I had to do was change the images as we made them smaller files. It didn't have to republish this out because there were no changes in the actual Babylon file. It was just the images files, which now we're running external to the Blender object. So kind of makes it nice. Puts them on the outside and gets them over there as quick as we can. Okay, so the other thing though is when I'm working on this and I select an object, there's always these various settings. I'd have to see. I know there's a way to change the intensity, and it's usually on the, well, there's alpha emission. So emission, we can change that, and, I don't know. Emission color, we may need to do something with one of these. I don't know. I got to study more on textures. I'm still learning them. I'm still going through. The old version of Babylon, our Blender actually had just this thing where you'd say the intensity. Boom, you hit it, and everything went. So you can actually make the shirt, for example, back glow, and it would automatically show up at a certain intensity. I'd set them all to 1, and everything worked great in the scene. Well, now that we're doing it this way, there's a little bit of difference of what gets imported into the scene compared to what we had before. So now he's a little bit, he doesn't have the sunlight hitting him like we did before. You can see the shadows. So he does have a shadow effect on him. See how it's going opposite of where it thinks my light is? So we do have some shadowing happening. Yeah, kind of weird. But we'll work on that. Some things like that. I'll work on getting them lighter. We'll do that stuff. But that's the kind of stuff I'm going to be doing, cleaning up those. The other part there's a number of animations that I had downloaded from the site, and I did not use all the keyframes. But I want to point out, this is all the keyframes. So he has all the keyframes loaded, and everything's going good. So and it's running fast. So when it's in Blender or Babylon and it's executing all the keyframes, it does them without any problems. So even though when I brought them up in here and I went to layout and I click this, notice how slow he's moving through all those keyframes. That has nothing to do with runtime speed of what I'm doing when I'm in Babylon. So that's a good point to, good thing to point out. Okay, so when I get back, I'm going to correct a few things. We ran into a couple places where things aren't loading, things aren't saving. Like I picked this avatar and it didn't update. I think there's an error in the avatar handler, so I'm going to jump in there and we're going to fix some code and continue on our way. So I'm going to take about a 5-minute break and then I'm going to get back to that. So I will be right back.
looks good.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Hopefully you made it back too. Okay, we got a number of things. It was kind of funny when I sat back down here and stuff. I barely touched the computer and I got a static shock, so got zapped. And it sounded much louder than it probably had any effect of anything else, but it definitely caught my attention. So if you saw me jump, that's what that was. Another thing was, let's see. Okay. Well, we're just jumping back in, so I have some hot tea now, so now I'm a little warmer. Had to run my fingers underneath some warm water because my hands were getting cold while I program. Okay, so enough complaining. Let's get back to the scene. I'm going to close out a couple things here that we don't need right now, and it's time to fix a couple pieces in here with the other part. With the handler for my animations because they're not coming through. None of my avatar settings are coming through, so I suspect that's why it's causing different issues. So I'm going to jump in and see if we can't see where they're happening and fix them. Okay, nothing triggered to there. Let's see if we... First of all, I want to see if they give me an actual error, because if it broadcasts an error to me, then that does become a little easier than if I have to look through and find the error on my own. Doesn't mean I can't. We can troubleshoot. You've seen me do that already many times. And so if it ends up being a problem with that, we can definitely troubleshoot and find the error that's happening. But if they gave us a line number, then hey, I'll take it. 12/16, that's already a couple days ago, so, and this is ordered by date, so that tells me we're probably not on that server. Did I see something else there? Those two files are not the ones we're looking for. They're not the droids we're looking for. Okay, so on this page, we had a couple errors in there in the past. Let's get a little newer here and see what we have. We can always clear the current file if it exists, and then if it creates a new one, we'll know with the latest errors. Chrome installer, that was something recent probably. And PHP errors, here's the document. Okay, same thing that we had before. And allocated memory, that had something to do with something I was doing the other day. I'm going to delete this file so that it will now put any new errors, it'll put it right at the top of the file, latest date. Okay, time to troubleshoot. So, first things first, let's pick a spot. Object definitions, I'm going to leave that where it is. That was playing around with our Jasper stuff. Load avatar, I'm not going to mess with any of that. That's all stuff we'll be working with. Load avatar has a lot of the commands that tell us to do different things also. But the main thing I'm looking for is not in there, not in that file. Okay, so when I click here, and then I click Edit My Avatar, when I click Avatar Animations, that should have triggered the process. That opens up this section. So let me look and see which... I'm showing you, by the way I do this, and I find out where the heck it is in my code. When you start getting around, hundreds of thousands of lines of code, or, whatever size this thing is now, I know it's tens of thousands of lines of code for sure. But whenever it gets that big, sometimes you just need to be able to look things up this way. That would be common, and here it is, switch avatar menu. Number 3 gives us close avatar selection, get avatar animations all. So this one should have, finding files, this one should have loaded up the animations that are part of this list that we see there. So this happens, then everything goes to here. And the response gets parsed, and this is where it shows the list of all the stuff it does. So somewhere in here, we should be able to see by giving it the avatar ID, which is my current avatar, so it knows which ones I've already selected. That's the only thing it's doing. And then this get avatar animation all, we should be passing that into handler's avatar, which is right here. And then from there, we should be able to come back over here. It should use the WTW avatars. Actually, it should be animations. It goes back between the two different items, depending on which one is calling. Okay, so with all that said, when this one goes in here, we have avatars, and what we're doing is get animations all. There are the avatars. And let me see if it's in the avatar file. We should be get avatar animations all. Just going to double check. Yep, there's a avatar. And the avatars, here it is. We didn't change anything in the way this one was called, so this one should be okay as is. Okay. JSON encode. Okay, that sends it back that way. I think we're okay. Means it's coming back as JSON at this point, and then response is this, packaged there. Actually, that right here may have messed up our packaging. Let's see. I think I've already found the problem. This right here tells it to do this, and let me see. Animations. Okay, so that is just a list of the animations. It's not nested. I want to make sure. And that means it comes out this way, and avatar animations should have the list right at that level. Okay, let's find out what we're getting. Now that I've walked through the code a little bit and seen what's actually happening, I'm familiar and ready to go after this and find out what's happening. So the first thing I'm going to do is when it runs that file, wait a minute. Oh, it's in my load avatar, sorry. Okay, move a couple of these files out of the way, load avatar. And this particular one, when it runs this, this is where we're getting it. And I want to see what happens right here if there's anything coming back first. If there's nothing coming back, then we'll take a different approach with it. But here I'm going to do JSON and stringify. And we're going to kick that out as the response. If it's blank, I want to know, so that's why I put a variable in front of it. Okay, so I know it's not even going to let me get that far. I should fix the other one where we can select the avatar, but I think it's all related. So I think when I fix one of these, it's going to actually fix all of them. If not, we'll be going through them. And let's select Jasper here. Since we're working with Jasper, we're going to go ahead and click on him. We'll let it finish doing what it's doing, just so it does it. Okay, that's out of the way, and click on Jasper. We have him. Now we're going to say avatar animations, and okay, so it is returning all the values that we expect. And it is avatar animations and then everything after that. So if that's the case, response avatar animations, we are getting the data this far. So what's happening here? Oh, well, first of all, I use response instead of Z response like I've been doing on a lot of things. We can fix that or not. But I kind of want to find out what's going on here. So we know, well, let's see what we know. We know we're passing data this far. Let's see where we're getting to. Could be just a format thing here, but either way, we're going to find out where it gets to and what's actually stopping it from doing it. No, actually, that's fine. So at this point, we're going to say length equals, I just want to make sure we're getting the right part of the code. So if I go to here, okay, let's see if length shows up. I got to go through a lot of steps to get here again. I think I can just click this. Nah, I got to reload it. Maybe it would be good if I can select my character. The other thing was, if it didn't give me my current character, why didn't that happen in the database? Because the database should have kept my old one, and it should be finding me every single time right now. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but let's find out. User avatars, and this is mine right here. It did set it to Jasper. It knows my user ID. It knows the avatar. It set it to Jasper. This is all here, so I'm not sure why it's not finding my... Oh, so it's the code that finds it that's having trouble right now. That's what's happening. Okay, so it lets me pick my avatar, but when it loads the avatar, isn't coming through. Well, let's go one more time here. I want to see where this is at, so we'll get to that. Got to walk our way through a couple different things of code and get them in place so that they work. See, right here, this should already know you have an avatar and preload it. So since it's telling me to choose again, obviously something's not working right. So, okay, select him and avatar animations, and whoa, that would be the problem. Length 102,000. Okay, so this right here, even though we told this right here to be, it sent back a string value underneath this. So when this comes through, what I need to do is I need to JSON parse this piece here so that it becomes what we're expecting, which is an array of values, not the string value, which has a length that large. Okay, so I have a feeling, I have high confidence now that that's going to fix that piece. By making it string, yeah, it basically chopped that all off. Okay, so I'm pretty confident now that we're going to get our animations in place. I'm going to select him as soon as I can. Animations, and there they are. Okay, so that could be happening in more than one place. First thing is that happens, and then this didn't load either. We'll get to that one in a minute. But now this list comes up, which is good. Optional gestures. It already knows our gestures here. Don't know why they didn't load here. Okay, one thing at a time. Okay, so let's track down this other issue. Okay, so when basically in here there's well, actually I'm going to take it one step back. At the beginning, I'm going to walk through the code and just kind of check the logic and make sure we're in good place. But technically, load primary camera, we'll see. Okay, that's all fine. And right at the end here, get saved avatar and avatar, session avatar if it's not blank. Okay, so get saved avatar. That's the first one we're going to go to. And when we're running in here, it tries this, which should find our character, but I'm going to test this piece. I want to know the full extent of what it's trying to find right here. So that much of this. And just kick that out on our screen, or on our console log. And this shouldn't have to go through all those extra steps now, because now it should try to load our avatar. And there's the path I'm looking for. Copy that. Open another 3d.http, 3d.net, and this path. Okay, so we are returning our avatar. It knows my instance. It knows the scaling. It is male. Default male. It is not the avatar that I chose. Something didn't happen right already. Because if this did anything more, first of all, I don't see the word Jasper in here. So let me find out. Just to double check. Nope, Jasper is not in there. But default male is right there, default male, which means this is giving me the wrong avatar to begin with. And once it does that, we're off in a different path. So first thing I need to do is I need to check connect avatars. With this, first thing is instant user ID IP. I want to see which item I'm bringing back and which ones it's trying to fetch, because I need to make sure it's giving me all the correct values. Before I do that, one of the things I can do here is I'm actually passing these values with B to A as changing them to base 64 code. So I can actually go in here and say instance equals, and the value without being base 64 encoded. I just want to check to see in the database and see if I'm getting the one that I think I am. And we're going to do user ID. And the last part is, user IP doesn't matter. Okay, so, well, actually it could matter. I'll double check. I think I know my user IP, but I'm fine. We'll check it anyway. Okay, once I have these values, then I can walk through the code and test the SQL statement and see what's happening in our SQL statements. Because something's happening there where it's not pulling the character that I think I should be getting at this point in time. So, and once that happens, yeah, your character is loaded. I'm more curious why it's not working now, but when I had the Malcolm character before this, before I changed my character, it loaded Malcolm every single time. So I'm wondering what's different that causes this to re-trigger and think that I need a new character every time. So, excuse me, looking at the database, I'm going to shrink this down just a touch. Looking in here under user avatars. And I'm going to make that, oops, not that part. I need this part of the screen a little bit smaller. There we go. Now I can see the different values that I'm looking for. And what I get is, first of all, AS8 or AZ8, whatever it is, I can't read it. AS8Z, yep, so the instance ID is correct. 43 that, okay, that's all the same. And 21094. Okay, so these three values are correct going in, and they should pull back that particular reference. So we already know that it's passing the right information to this function. So with that said, in here, we read the values, we decode the base 64, so there shouldn't be any problem with that step. And now if user ID is empty, and that's empty, which is not the case, it's not the one it's running. User ID is not empty, but this avatar ID is empty, which is the case. And instance ID is not empty. Okay, so I'm using this statement right here. And I'll run it real quick just to find out. Table prefix in my case is just WalkTheWeb underscore. And now we're going to paste in the user ID, which is this one. We already confirmed they're the same, so I'm not going to worry about that part. And the instance ID I'll get right here. Copy that to here. And what does it give me? It gives me DDT blah, 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 which is this ID. Okay, that's what I'm expecting at this point in time. Now that means this user ID gets passed to this. If it's empty, it's not empty anymore, and it is set, so that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Wait a minute. Okay, so now we're to this point. It's not empty, and it is set, and I should be getting this function right here to there. Copy that. And like I said, I'm just walking through the code using the different SQL statements that I have. This is going to be WTW underscore, okay. WalkTheWeb underscore. And our user avatar ID is this value that we pulled from the statement above. And this should get us our animations. So let's double check that happened the right way. And there are no selected animations. That just means I didn't customize any, and actually that is correct at that point in time. I did not customize any animations, so that should happen, and it should be bringing back nothing, so that's null. This is just going to get compared to a bunch of animations that are the defaults. So that part is okay. This is the part that needs to have the right one, though. This is the part that, if everything works right here, then we're actually getting the correct avatar back. And for some reason, I think something's going on weird with this one. And when it does, then it automatically gives me the default avatar instead. So I'm making sure we get those pieces in place. That's our ID we're going to put in here. And then we should see our Jasper selection in this data right here. So execute that, and what do I get? Oh, it highlighted something else. All I want is this piece. Oh, it is my colors. Never mind. This is doing the animations and interjoin avatar animations, user avatar animations. Oh. This gives me the default values of... Oh, that's what it was. It was default male was the animation friendly name. That isn't bringing back my avatar yet. That's still bringing back the other stuff. The avatar itself is... I didn't bring back the avatar name, that's why. Okay, so the object folder that the avatar is using should be this right here. That should be the correct one. Let me see where that's coming from. That is part of this statement, which did come up blank. There's something wrong here. Oh, because no colors are set. User avatars left join. That should have given me a value. There's our mistake. Let me get this. Oh, once I set a color, it worked. That's why I was able to get one working before. So let's go into this piece. I'm going to, just so I don't have to keep on marking this out every time or trying to highlight the one I want to run, I'm going to mark out this one and this one up on top. Now every time I run it, I'm just running this section in between. Notice it's blank. There's something wrong with that. Avatars A. So avatars A. And then left join this. So left join is fine on that. Everything's good there. A this and C deleted is null or C deleted equals blank. I have a feeling that that one is causing an issue. Let's take it out and run the statement. Now I'm getting Jasper with the values from before because they're not deleted. Okay. So those are those values. But why, when I put that in there, do I need to do this? As color deleted, that'll keep it from conflicting with our other deleted. And run that statement. See, it's coming up blank. Why? It should be allowing the null value to pass. Or that. C deleted. Okay, first things first, stretch it down a little bit so you can see what I'm working on. There's a mistake in this code here, and notice when I take this, I don't even have to highlight it. Why is, see that's user avatar this, okay, so we know the user avatar number's coming through. We know that it matches this on a left join. So user avatar ID is what's connecting the two. And then avatar ID part. See, the left join isn't operating correctly because if that was the case, right here should have, and these are deleted, they are gone, so they shouldn't be coming up at all. Don't know why that did that, but here's another way of doing it. Okay, when that fails, left join, and since I already renamed the table, select everything from this name, and where deleted equals 0, and that gets connected to this. I can even go one step farther and say where that, and if I do it this way, user avatar ID, then I'm not bringing back so much and then trying to connect them. So user avatar ID equals a user avatar ID. Copy that right there. And then I'm only tying up what I brought back from there. That should work. And we should get, nope, we got an error. Oh, it didn't like me doing this. Okay, fine. When it doesn't like it, do it another way. Okay, run that. And see, now we get the one record back. So by checking the deleted there instead of the other part, it was able to do it. I don't know why it didn't work down here. I've done that many times, use that same type of code, and for some reason it just didn't like it. So I'm going to modify the code. And instead of just going on colors, we're going to wear that, and it'll be select everything from that, put a parentheses around it. And okay, so now we're actually getting this piece of the code. Now that we have that in place, let's see. We should be getting back Jasper, which is our selection, which means we now have one selected. And did it work? There we go. Jasper's loaded. Okay, so that did fix the code. It does bring back our one character. Notice our shadowing. We have some serious shadowing going on here. I might need to turn off some of the receive shadows parts on him because he's really... That seems a bit much, in my opinion, but we'll see. Yeah, so we'll play around with some of the shadowing things. But that's just another story. Okay, so now we bring him back without any trouble. It's a little fixing the code here. So some of these little things every once in a while. But it did save the correct one when I picked it. So that is something else I don't have to go back to. We do have, making sure I didn't make any changes in this stuff, which is good. None of that needed to be changed. It wasn't any issue in that part of the code. Load avatars. This is where I was doing my telltales, trying to get an idea of what was going on there. Click that out. And just so I've done it, we also have this. And if I refresh this now, notice the path that it brings back is Jasper. That's what I was expecting the first time because that's what's in the database. So I should have had that. If it doesn't bring that back, then it tries to give you a default character just so you have something, but at the same time, gives you a choice to choose which avatar you want to use. And now that it finds the one that I did select, that shouldn't be a problem. It won't ever go into that particular condition again. So that takes care of that little piece, and now we have Jasper working here, and we now have, see, even his different animations all showed up. And notice how some of these are kind of messed up. That's the other piece that I was working on in the first half here today. So as I fix things, we'll take care of some of those and make it all work. But overall, we got through this, got it in here. We're updating the animations. They're working better than they did before. And I'll keep working on them. So, getting closer, getting closer. Everything we do is a step closer. So, okay, so I want you to have a great day, and thank you for watching. Thank you for following, and I'll be around, so if you catch me on Discord, you can join us in there. We're starting to work as a group, and we're going to create a paintball game. I'm still going to keep on going with the mini golf game here as you watch me here, but we're going to get together and see if we can't create something as a group, and whoever wants to join us, you're welcome to join us. We'll see you in there, and sounds great. So take care, and I'll catch you later. See you in Discord, or type a message here. When I glance back at this occasionally, I'll answer back in the chat. So you can catch me through Whisper. Any way you want, you can get a hold of me. So have a great day, and thank you for watching, and also thank you for following. I really do appreciate it.